Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Uncontrolled Population. I'm Peyton.
I'm Sam.
We had some technical difficulties, so we're a little late today, but it's all right. It is all right.
We cleaned it up lickety split, and we're here.
We're here. We're here.
So what's today's episode is going to be about spirituality, right?
Yes. And ghosts and the spiritual realm and the unexplained things, creepy things.
What's your do you have a favorite thing that's creepy? Like a favorite category? Is it spirits or is it like cryptids?
Honestly, I think for me, spirits, because I feel like it's the most like unknown. So it's like there's not a for sure answer.
Yeah. It deals with the greatest question that man has been asking since its
the dawn
birth.
of time.
Yeah. Since its early inception.
Yeah.
What happens after death?
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be getting into today. I cannot speak for whatever reason, but Peyton, what is going on in the world today?
So today is April 23rd. So originally, I think we kind of jacked up the schedule a little bit, but we are back. And so
we needed it.
We needed it, honestly. It was a heavy couple of weeks. A lot of shit jam-packed in a couple of weeks. But basically, so we know that Israel and basically the United States has been committing a genocide in Palestine. And then now it's kind of branched off into Lebanon. And I guess Lebanon has now been bombed. And what's kind of weird that I've been hearing a lot of people talk about is that if you look up Lebanon on like Apple Maps and stuff, none of the cities that originally on there are on there anymore. But then you look at all the surrounding countries and like there's all the cities over there recorded. So it's just like weird and eerie. And obviously
it makes sense. Apple is in bed with the White House.
Yeah.
And they're probably getting all the newest briefings, so they're planning ahead. Right. Just like all the other weird coincidences that have happened in the past couple of years since the pandemic, where you would expect this, like, for instance, this exact thing. You'd expect it to happen afterwards, like a couple of years maybe.
Right.
Like, but not before, not like during when it's happening.
Right.
Like what happens if there are cities that are still standing?
Well, and that's the thing, they are, and they're basically talking about how they're doing it on purpose to like write it out of history and like again what they're doing to Palestine and stuff. So that's just something, that's going on, unfortunately. Also though, I feel like it's just been really heavy and it's been really stressful. So like we're gonna keep this episode a little bit more
on the light
side, I would say. So something cool is astronauts on the Artemis 2 basically went to the moon and came back. So the first time since they basically did it like 50 years ago, I think is what they're saying.
It was like, was it the 60s when the last man on the moon?
I think so.
Yeah.
And realistically, like, I don't know, like, there's some questionable things if we even really landed on the moon or if it was like a PR stunt. So this one was pretty cool. But yeah, it was cool. I saw a couple of videos where one of the guys, he was driving through his neighborhood when he got home, one of the astronauts, and like all his neighbors were out and like cheering for him and waving for him. Oh, wow. And there was a woman astronaut. And it's a really cool thing to see happen in her lifetime. And watching a lot of TikToks of people watching it was really cool because there was a lot of like older people that were there for the first one. Yeah. And then them watching this one. But then also in between, like I saw one of this old lady kind of talk about, and she was like tearing up and was just like, I hope they make it and they're okay. Cause I mean, she's probably seen a lot of failed missions and stuff. So yeah, that was, one thing that's kind of cool that happened. But then I wanted to talk more about like my current event type of stuff, which was I went on a trip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I went to New York. We stayed in downtown Brooklyn, me and my girlfriend. And super fun. We learned how to take the subway. We did the Met Museum. That was cool. We did the Museum of Sex. Really cool. It's like an interactive kind of exhibit.
Oh yeah.
They had it was funny. They had like a bouncy castle type of thing, but it was like a bunch of boobs. And then they had a lot of cool interactive stuff and just little like they had one of those, is it Zotar? One of those like machines where it's like it like reads your fortune or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But they had one, but it was RuPaul from like RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah. That's funny. Of course.
Right? So that was kind of funny, but yeah, it was cool. We got like if you go with your, like, you could get, I'm pretty sure with a friend, whatever, two people, you could get like the lovers package. So you get like a little bag of goodies, you get a free drink. And then you get to do all the attractions, which if you just buy the regular pass, I guess like you don't get all the attractions. So it was worth it. We also
the attractions.
So there was like, honestly, there was this one really weird fucking movie, and we were just like, okay, cool.
Weird movie.
Yeah, it was like a weird like short movie.
Okay.
There was this really cool like stair, like these colorful like stair things that were all different sizes, and you'd walk up it and then you'd slide down the slide, which low key, I swear to God, that slide was made for a kid because there was no fucking platform to sit on. So then it's like, and you're in New York, so it's like you're usually out for the day, so it's like you got to carry your shit with you. So I'm like holding this fucking bag. I'm trying to get down the slide. But then there's no platform. And then there's like these uneven stairs. So it's like you could get one leg in and then it was like hard to get your other leg in. So honestly, that part, once you're in the slide, okay, fun. But they need to put a platform on that. Like, because obviously it's like for adults.
Sounds like a pain.
Yeah, this place is for adults. Like, let's think about adults, please.
Why would a child come to this place?
Right. No. Like, and adults can't get their fucking ass in that slide. Like, come on. So that was one part where I was like, all right. But yeah, we did the Empire State Building. That was really cool. And then we're having some more technical difficulties, I think. But yeah, there was some other stuff that happened. So we actually did eat a bunch of good food. That part was really nice. And then did we figure it out?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. But yeah, we ate some good food. I found a bunch of stuff on TikTok, and then we like traveled all over basically. So it was really good. We ate these dumplings in this mall in Queens, or these like pan-fried buns. And then we also ate Din Tai Fung, which is like my favorite restaurant ever.
Wow.
Did the whole like Central Park thing. That was cool. But then it's like looking around Central Park, it's like, okay, it's just like what looks like here everywhere. But like obviously they don't have any nature in the city. So that's like the only nature outlet people can get.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but it was cool to see it. But leading into, we're talking about spirituality today and like ghosts and vibes and intuition a little bit and just kind of all things you can't really, for sure, what's the word? Like
you can't grasp it. You can't touch it. You can't necessarily see it.
Right, but it's like there.
Yeah, that's what they call it, metaphysical.
Yes.
And I like that term because that just sums it up. It's not something that you can, it's not physical in the traditional term, but it is still there. It has been something that's been there forever, far beyond humans and during humans' inception too. Like it helped to shape religion and all these other religions that were adopting and growing at the same time. It was, oh man, I love thinking about this stuff.
No, me
and like
too.
how much it's had an impact on human culture. But still, people like it's just so crazy how easily people can dismiss it.
Yeah.
Like it's mind-boggling. It's the same kind of like mind-boggling that I see whenever I see a MAGAist.
Yeah.
Sorry. But like no amount of evidence can convince that person.
That it's, yeah.
No amount of evidence. It's something that you have to experience.
Right. So, and that's why bringing to the tapping into not necessarily what you can like see or whatever, but what you can feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we were in New York, like this was where I was really like, okay, I'm tapping into my intuition because something doesn't feel right.
Okay.
So we had gotten in the Uber and we were going into the city. So we stayed in downtown Brooklyn at the Tillery Hotel, which honestly, really cute place, like 10 minutes from the subway. Highly recommend that hotel. Pretty affordable. But yeah, we get picked up there and then we're gonna get dropped off in like Manhattan-ish area.
Okay.
So we get in the car and it's just me and Steph and we're like having a good time. We hit the pen before we got in the car. We're like, woo, vacation. And we're driving and then all of a sudden the guy like unprompted was like, yeah, I used to give money to people on the side of the road, but then I found out they make money all day and then they have to give it to someone else like at the end of the day. And we're like, okay, like, yeah, that's really sad. Like, obviously he's kind of talking about like human trafficking and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's like really sad. And it was just kind of like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, like, you know, still the vibe's not super weird yet.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay. And then as we're driving, I'm starting to feel like weird and like spacey, but not like honestly, I'm a huge stoner. I smoke all the time. Like hitting the pen once or twice is honestly like not doing shit to me.
Yeah.
And so at first I was like, okay, was it because I hit the pen? Like I'm feeling weird. But then it's like I felt more and more weird, like almost like kind of how you feel at the dentist with like laughing gas or like, I don't know, where you just feel almost like wavy or spacey.
Quick question. So since you went from Colorado to New York, that's below sea level? Or is it at sea level?
I think it's like at sea level. I don't know how that works. I think it's like at sea level or something.
I asked because it's usually the other way around where going up in altitude would cause you to get lightheaded, but you went down.
Right. So that's why it was like, it couldn't have been that. Like I was drinking water. Again, the pen's not going to do much to me. So it's like, okay, that's weird. But again, not going to overthink it or anything. So then as this guy is telling, so like while this is happening to me and I'm kind of in my head, like, okay, whatever. This guy is telling stuff basically like, yeah, if you guys were cops, like I would tell you that it was on street this and this. And then it's like around this gas station. And so later we looked it up and it was like around this gas station and he gave us the cross streets. So it was like honestly fucking weird. So then at this point, I'm like, okay, I think I just need like air or something. And I texted Steph, because obviously I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm like, hey, I'm like getting I feel weird, like whatever. And she's like, no, I do too. Like she was kind of like, I feel like hazy or something. And I'm like, okay, clearly we're feeling the same way. This is weird. Yeah. So I go to put down my window and it's locked. So I'm like, hey, sir, like, can you unlock the window? Like, I just want to put it down. He's like, oh, yeah, no worries, whatever. So I put my window down. And then because I'm feeling weird, I'm trying to make it normal. And I'm like, oh, look at the architecture. Look at the buildings. Because, like, me and Steph are texting and we're kind of creeped out. Because at this point, he had made a joke that he was like, yeah, I wish I could just do one really long trip today so I could just work one stop and then be done. Like, do you guys want to go to like Albany, New York? And I was like, oh, no. Like, I was like, we're actually meeting my cousin and his wife and their baby in the city today. Like, because they always say like to make sure someone's like expecting you, which it was funny because they do live there and we didn't hang out. But anytime we got weird vibes, it was like, my cousin.
Right. Yeah. That's your go-to.
And then he goes, oh, I shouldn't have made that joke. And I was like, okay, like, all right.
Yeah.
So then by this point, it was weird. So then by this point, I was texting Steph. I was like, you need to put down your window too. Like, clearly there's something that's making us dizzy and tired in here. Like, it feels weird. So after I had the window open for a while, I honestly was feeling a little bit better. Okay. But honestly, I was low-key, like, my head was kind of out the window. Like, I was like, yeah. And again, playing it off, look at the architecture.
Yeah.
So Steph puts her window down. So then he goes, oh, like, is the climate control not okay in the car? And we're like, no, like, it's fine. Like, we just want the windows down. Like, we're just like, we like to see outside. Like, again, trying to play it off. And he's like, oh, well, the TLC laws basically like trying to fear us into rolling up our windows. Like, we weren't allowed to have our windows up by saying there was this TLC law.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, like, and again, I was like, I don't give a fuck if it's a law. Either like pull over and let me out, or I'm keeping the window open because we're like almost there. Like, I don't care. So I was like, oh, well, I just want to see outside and I like the fresh air. But he was basically trying to make us like freaking roll up the windows.
Right.
And me and Steph were like, fuck no. So then he goes, I have to make a call to my mom. And we're like,
what the fuck?
Okay, like, sure, dude.
Is this a taxi or a Uber?
No, literally, this was a fucking Lyft. And we had been taking Lyft the whole time before. We took a couple Lyfts after. It was weird. And it was like during the day, so it was fucking weird. But I don't know if he saw us like smoking before we got in the car and was like, oh, these bitches are dumb or what. But it's like, no, dude, I'm so paranoid. Like, you cannot pull one over on me.
Yeah.
So then he calls this lady. This lady does not sound like a mom at all. And it's like obviously a different language, so I don't know what he's saying. But this lady on the phone sounded young. And it was a really, really short phone call. And then they just like hung up. And it was weird. And then, but the whole time my stomach was hurting like so bad. And like, it just was the weirdest feeling of feeling like, okay, something's not right. Something's not right. I need to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So we finally get there, and then we're at a light, and I was like, let's get out. So I was like, oh, thank you, we're going to get out. So I opened the door, and then he was like, at first he was like, okay. And then he was like, oh, no, I can't stop here. So then I closed the door because he's like not letting us out. He drives up a little further, and then he let us out. But it was honestly so scary. Like, Steph, when he was like, no, I can't hear. Steph was like, oh, great, we're going to get like stolen now. But yeah, it was the scariest, because at first I didn't want to say anything to Steph because I was like, okay, maybe I'm thinking it in my head, whatever. But then it's like when I was like, hey, I kind of feel this way. She was like, yeah, me too. But I didn't want to like, she didn't want to freak me out.
Yeah.
So
that's fucking crazy. Jesus.
Scary as fuck. Oh, and then we get into the city and we get on one of those like buses where you sit on the top and like we're driving around.
Oh, like a double-decker?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so then we're like, okay, we got to report this to Lyft because it's like, I don't want another girl to be in this situation. And it's like,
right.
Me and Steph are both like oldest daughters. So it's like, we got to be on top of our shit, always paying attention. And again, like I'm one of the most paranoid people. Sorry. And so, it's like for me, I notice instantly when the vibes are off and I'm like, okay, no. But like, let's say girls are drinking or they're with their friends or they're tourists or they don't know, like that's fucking scary. Mm-hmm. So we go to report it to Lyft. We let them know everything that's going on. And these fucking motherfuckers basically were like, we're taking this so seriously. Here's a $5 off coupon for your next ride. And then we were like, glad to know my safety is worth $5. So we didn't even take that fucking credit because it's honestly like, dude, fuck you. Like, we told you all this shit happened and like, yeah. And another thing I want to preface is the guy's window is down. But then he wasn't allowing us to have our windows down. So the whole thing was fucking weird.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
And
the whole thing is fucking weird.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know if something was in the air, what the vibe was, but this guy was fucking off.
Yeah.
So
a couple of things on that. Like, first off, I think it could have been one of two things. One being like an actual chemical that he had back there. Like maybe it was in your seat or something stashed in order to make people bluesy like that. That's one. Or two, I know that you and Steph have been around each other a lot. And usually when you are around another person, the vibes kind of exchange.
Yeah.
Like you start picking up things that she would pick up on and vice versa. So it makes sense that if it was just vibes alone and intent, it must have been really powerful stuff. Because, yeah, he was acting super weird. And I absolutely 100% believe that you could have picked it up. You specifically could have picked it up physically. Or maybe it was a mix of both.
Or sometimes I'm like, I wonder in those situations, are we picking up like past energies that he did do that to someone? Like it was such an overwhelming feeling of like loopy, like I literally like he went over this bump and it felt like I was like floating for a second. Like it was the weirdest fucking feeling. And that's when I told Steph, like, I don't feel, because at first I felt woozy and then I felt that and I was like, something's not right. And the last time I remember feeling that way was when we were at this fucking restaurant called Burgers and Wings. And we're pretty sure one of the waiters or someone drugged my friend's drink. And I felt that exact way when we drank her drink. And I was like, something's not right. Because again, I'm so aware of how my body feels. I know exactly what I feel like when I'm high or if I'm too high. I know exactly what I feel like if I'm drunk or if I'm too drunk. But like one of those things where I don't do, I'm like, something's not right. Like this is weird. Yeah. But yeah.
Wow. I'm just glad that you made it out on the other side. Because from that, there are so many times he could have just gone for broke. And who knows what have happened at that point. Like, I'm really glad that you guys made it out of there.
But I will say it's like me and Steph have planned for this. Like if it did happen and it's like almost like I feel like we were so alert. He's probably like, I don't want to deal with these bitches because I would have taken my purse and like choked the dude out. Like, cause I was sitting right behind him.
Choke his ass out.
So it's like realistically, he was probably in the most vulnerable situation sitting where he was because like, I'm a really nice person. I'm very kind. I would never fight someone. I would never whatever. But if it's a survival instinct and it's whatever, I'm unleashing every bad feeling I've ever had, every upset I've ever had, everything I've shoved down over the years. Honestly, like someone should be scared of me at that point. Like I would snap. Like I'd be on like Snapped or something. But yeah, so that was kind of, the start of this whole thing of just like feeling things of not necessarily knowing, because it's like I could have totally dismissed it and been like whatever and kept the windows up and then who knows what would have happened,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just a quick question for you. Do you have one of those like window breaker thingies in your purse by chance?
No, but that's honestly so fucking smart. After all this shit, like, that and I'm like a taser probably too.
Yeah. From somebody that's in security, those tasers, the ones that just like are electric, right? They just bzz.
Yeah.
Those aren't going to do anything besides hurt them and piss them off more. When you say taser, you mean something that shoots probes into the person and initiates this thing called NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation. It's literally when your muscles seize. But it doesn't happen from just bzzz into one spot. It's basically an arc of electricity that travels across your body. So theoretically,
if you're going to use one of those little taser things, like tase them in the eye or something, like make it count?
Yeah, like tase them in the back of the neck while you're choking them out, tase them in the groin, or make sure you have a really big one that can get through thick clothing. God, this is the third time that this shit's
It's weird because, so is it like people could still hear us, they just can't see us? Okay, so that's weird that it's like, of course, on the one that we're talking about ghosts and spirituality and creepy shit.
That this shit just said exactly. That's so weird. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
At least it's not cutting the audio and everything, because that'd be a pain. Also, what up, Wildflower? How you doing? Thank you for coming by. Yeah, the camera goes black. And then you two talked about that exact situation like a few lifts back, is what Wildflower was saying. Wait. Wildflower is Steph.
Okay, but wait, I can't see. Sometimes I can't verbally process.
It says, we literally talked about that, or what we would have done a few lift threads before that. And then, no, most recent one is, the camera goes black. I got you, homie.
Literally, thank you. No, we literally talked about like, okay, if someone did this, like we'd do that. So it's just like, we've already thought about it 10,000 times. So it's like,
And if you see one that has like a barrier between the back seat and you, don't get in.
Oh, that's for sure.
Like or plastic. Yeah, fuck that.
Get out.
Next,
so
you're gone.
You just got to be very aware of your surroundings, very tapped in. If you feel something, even if you're overreacting and you feel something, fucking listen to it. Who cares? Like,
it's not
the worst
worth your
thing
life.
The worst thing that can happen, you get out of a situation.
And it's a little awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But you guys definitely had good rational reason to get the fuck out of that situation ASAP. That's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
And it actually ties a little bit into the start of this topic. So what I did for my research on spirituality is I've been around the scene for a while. My mom grows sage, and we've always saged the house after like a family member's passing, or if there's just a bunch of negative vibes in the house. I know about keeping windows like open to keep circulation and circulating the energy, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Is you rolling down that window and getting circulation helped. I think maybe in two ways. One, obviously, like the actual getting away from the chemical, if there was like a chemical in the air, and two, like just having like away from his negative energy, if that was the thing that was getting into you too.
That's true too. I didn't think about it that way.
Because when there's an old house, like energy can get trapped if there's no ventilation. That's something that I've picked up through listening to people talk about spirituality, as well as just the basic feel of a well ventilated house in general. It feels different. But I've always been fascinated with it. And when I was working at Amazon, that's when I listened to the most amount of podcasts.
Okay.
I was always running around and I'd have a podcast in my ears and it just make the day melt and go by so quick. So I listened to this podcast called Otherworld. I listened to 3 episodes that have different takes from different people talking about their experiences with like this other dimension. And it's just so interesting because there's so many iterations, so many different iterations, and people always look for the definitive one.
Right.
We're always looking for like
proof.
Yeah, proof and like, oh, it has to be just one place. Like it has to be hell. It has to be heaven. It has to be this one idea, but
like finite.
It exactly has to be, finite.
Yeah.
Like repeatable.
Yeah.
And throughout all of what I've learned about metaphysical and anything that's not actually physically tangible, it's not reliable in that way most of the time.
Yeah.
I think only very, very, very spiritually charged and talented people can tap into that at will.
Like, and like whenever they want. And yeah.
Like it's
a practice for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I think most people, everyone could probably eventually develop those skills, but it's just also, if you practice them and learn them, listen to your intuition, listen to your body, figure that out. Yeah,
that's also something that's very frequently said. We all are able to tap into that. I feel like I am getting closer and closer to seeing more results, I guess, from this, or like being in tune with it. But it has definitely taken practice and like actually doing it intentionally too.
Right.
But it's really interesting just to hear all these like different. It's so cool. But before we do, I just want to get some of your thoughts on like, and maybe some of your experiences with spirituality as well.
Yeah. So I feel like, so growing up, I grew up a little bit more on like I was baptized Catholic, raised Christian, whatever. And within that community, I think there's a lot of like fear behind like what you don't know. And it's always like, well, you just have to believe this because of faith. And so with that fear, I feel like I kind of took that. And growing up, my aunt was really into like psychics and all that. And I remember my mom being like, oh, that's a bunch of like fake, like it's not real, like whatever. And so that always stuck with me. And so I always thought, okay, that stuff can't be real. Like, and then I had a fear behind it.
Yeah.
And so then when I started getting older and kind of getting into my own spirituality of like, what do I believe and what do I connect with? I started really enjoying that like unknown. And one of my family members, she's like a family friend. She passed away, but she was really into ghosts and like the spiritual stuff and all that. And so I think she was probably my first person that kind of like introduced me into that realm.
Yeah.
And I was still like obviously really scared. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know, because you see all these like scary movies around it and stuff like that. And so yeah, at first I was like, I don't know about all that stuff. But then the more I like learned about it, the more I learned about even reading a book. I still have to finish that book actually, but it was talking about witches and how like witches throughout media are portrayed, and we talk about how, you know, a lot of times women in power are villainized, and how that creates a whole like basically structure and how that looks, and like they basically villainize the witch and all that stuff. And in reality, it was just women like an old religion, like pagan women, or like women that believed in like natural medicine or whatever the case. It was kind of like demonized and stuff over the course of millennia.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's kind of where I started. And then the more I started getting involved, the more I was like, this is really interesting. And I remember watching like Ghost Adventures and being like, oh my God, like this is scary. But I would always be so scared, but I'd want to watch more.
You remember when I was in high school, my nickname, or one of my nicknames, was Zach Baggins.
Really?
Because I looked like him. I had the hair, the faux hawk. I had the jaw back when I was skinnier. Yeah, they called me Zach Baggins.
That's
dude.
funny.
I've always loved him too. Like I used to watch the shit out of Ghost, but
Ghost Adventures.
I just had a memory come back
of what?
God. So I went through a phase when I was younger, around like 13, like from the transition to middle school to high school.
Okay.
Where my mom had a Ouija board in the house.
Oh, see, I do not fuck with those. I don't go looking for it like that.
Yeah, I don't currently. I did then. Yeah.
Scary. Did anything scary happen?
Kinda.
Okay, let's hear about it.
I feel like back then I'd have a lot more nightmares that were way more viscous.
Okay.
I'd wake up in the middle of the night a lot more back then, and as time progressed, that stopped happening for one reason or another. At this time, like my mom hadn't saged in a long time. My family does practice saging with sage that we grow in our front yard, just white sage or whatever kind of other things my mom makes. I have not made one of these just yet, but I do want her to teach me one of these days. Though that I could probably figure it out on my own. Anyways, so after I had messed around with it, I remember it was not immediately after. It was like maybe anywhere from like a few months to like a year afterwards. I was awake in my room, and then my PlayStation 2 turned on. I didn't touch anything. And it turned on, and then it started making this weird like skipping noise. Like the disc inside would like
ew.
And the weirdest fucking part, I did interact with it. I interacted with it like I would the Ouija board.
Okay.
I asked it its name. I forgot what it said. I managed to find out by doing like, is it A and then waiting? Is it B and then waiting? Is it C? And then going through the list until I had like a name, because it would either start doing the jerking and only do it in like single intervals whenever I hit a letter or something like that. And it did spell out like a name.
Ew. Do you remember the name?
It was either like Gary or Jerry, which is weird because my brother's name.
Stop.
Yeah. He's alive still too, which is weird.
Okay. Ew.
So yeah. And just dumb boy with too much time on his hands with a Ouija board.
Okay.
I did mess around with it a couple times afterwards too, like intermittently spaced, because for one reason or another, like somebody else was fascinated with it, and then I pulled it out because I wanted to like impress them.
Yeah.
And
You're like, I don't care about being possessed. Let's whip out the Ouija board. Do it.
Let's also leave the house without saying goodbye. My dumbass, like, teenage self. And then somebody else told me to go back. So we pulled a Yui and then went back to the house, said goodbye, and then left.
Oh my God. Good thing.
Anyways.
Scary.
I don't fuck around with those shits anymore.
Yeah.
I think we even burned the last one.
Okay.
And everything has been good since. Like, I hardly ever dream. And I have more good dreams than not these days.
Okay.
But like I said, we do sage, and you can just feel a different vibe in the space afterwards too. You also have to make sure that a window is open so that all the negative energy has
somewhere to go.
Yeah, exactly, has somewhere to go. That's important. And I know that there's just a bunch of different practice. Oh my God, it happened again. A bunch of different practices. Why?
I'm like, guys, like, what's going on? I'm like a ghost, or the government is censoring us. What is it? But yeah, so, well, okay, so then I'll just tell my story about my experience. So growing up, I've always had like very vivid dreams, but my dreams are like scary as fuck. Like it always would involve me and my sister, and we were somewhere where we couldn't, like our parents weren't there or whatever, and we couldn't get out of it. And I've had a couple dreams where it's like we were stolen, and then these guys were gonna like hang us in an abandoned building.
Oh my God.
And then I had this one where it was like some lady that was supposedly our grandma took me and my sister camping. And then I don't know if she was a demon or something in the dream, but she literally was like scratching the skin off my sister's leg and was like, I love you. Yeah, that's why it's like, I don't watch scary movies because my brain makes up this scariest fucking shit.
Jesus.
That I'm like, I don't need to watch any more bullshit. Yeah. But yeah, so I've always had these like very, very intense dreams. And so basically the older I've gotten, the more dreams I've had that are like, they almost tell me shit. And I didn't really realize until later in life because it's like I wasn't listening to stuff. So I've had one dream where it's like, I've seen a spider in my dream, and I've had it in multiple houses. So I've had it at my old townhouse that I lived with my high school boyfriend. Then I had my mom's old house, and then here. So I've had 3 houses where I've had this same exact dream, and it looks the same exact in my dream as the room I'm in. So usually it's a spider hangs off the ceiling and is like dangling right here.
Oh my God.
And then it's like always in the room that I'm in. And then eventually it wakes me up. I go freak out. I think and spiders, actually my face turned on light. I'm like, oh, it's a dream. But then this one time I had a dream still with the spider, but the spider was next to me. And this is when I lived with my boyfriend from high school. We were like high school sweethearts or whatever. And so I look over in the dream, and there's a fucking spider on the wall that's like this big, and it's like a tarantula with like 30 legs.
Oh my God.
And I fucking roll over on top of him. I'm like, there's a spider. He's like waking up like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? But yeah, I've always had this like recreation of this dream. And they say like spiders like tell you things and whatever. And over the years I've had different messages or whatever, but yeah, I've just always had these very intense dreams. So now fast forward to living in this room. I keep having these things where I'll be in a dream and it feels like I'm not supposed to be there. And like one, for instance, and I could still see it clear as day, like I'm standing at the bottom of these stairs and I see up the stairs and I can see someone's shadow like coming forward, and I felt so uneasy, so scared.
Oh, fuck.
And then all of a sudden, in real life, I was sleeping. My dog was not with me. It felt like something woke me up. And I'm like looking over, and I swear to God, it felt like someone was like sat on the bed right next to me. And then I swear to God, it looked like the blankets like barely moved up, like as someone sat down and then, yeah. So now I've had that happen in this house 2 times. And then while I was by myself, and then I've had it happen one other time when Steph was here. But it wasn't like someone sat there. I just woke up and I felt someone was like watching me from a dream. But it's like I never get scared because in the dream, it's always somewhere where it's like super fucking scary, like someone's gonna hurt me, whatever. So it's like always getting me out of the dream. And there's some dreams that I've had where it feels like I've been awake all night. Like I'll wake up in the morning and it's like I didn't sleep at all. Like I felt like I slept for like 2 minutes. But in the dream, I'm so active and so whatever. So I don't know if it's like, is it astral projection? Is it lucid dreaming? Is it whatever? I don't know. But I've just always had these very, very intense dreams. But then on the flip though, sometimes they do tell me shit. Like I had a dream with my ex that there was something on his phone. And in the dream, I like had grabbed the phone and locked myself in the bathroom, and he was like screaming like, give me my phone, give me my phone. And in the dream, I'm like trying to look on the phone, but it's like you can't see what's on the phone in the dream, you know? So I was like, whatever, didn't think anything of it. Well, fast forward, I ended up looking on his phone like right before we broke up, and then we got back together and whatever, the whole shebang. But I found some shit I didn't like on his phone. So I was like, the universe, myself, my higher self, God, whoever you want to call it, someone gave me some info that I needed, and it's always helped me out. So I love that.
Yeah, I love that for you. Fuck yeah, that's a little metaphysical intuition right there. Yeah, something outside of yourself.
Right.
It was interesting that you described being in the room that you were in, because that's a characteristic of astral projection.
Really?
For those of you that don't know, the difference between lucid dreaming and astral projection is astral projection, your spirit, your essence leaves your body and you're able to see the room that you're in as it is. Like, say, like as an example, say you fell asleep in this room, and without you knowing, I moved the guitar as you were asleep, and then you described to me when you wake up, like, oh yeah, I was in the room, I remember everything. I remember that the guitar was gone though. And I would, like, it literally is you physically leaving your body and being in that room. That's the difference. And I really am excited to talk about that. But I want to bring it back around to the spider that you keep seeing, because that's so interesting that like you're in the room that you're currently in and like the spider is like dangling. Like that's just very, very interesting and distinct from any other story that I've heard about this. Like that's a first.
And I feel like I've noticed it's always when I'm in something that I necessarily shouldn't be in, or I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing type of thing. Like I was getting a lot of those dreams when I was with my high school boyfriend, and it was like one of those things where it was like kind of a dead end, whatever. And I was getting a ton of those dreams. And then he ended up doing some shady ass fucking shit I found out later on. And then same thing with my most recent ex. It was like I started getting a lot of those dreams kind of more towards the end of us. But yeah, like with Steph, I had not had one single spider dream at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't had one for probably, honestly, a year and a half. I want to say I haven't had a spider dream, but
nice.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. That's a good sign, I think. Maybe
I'm like, oh my God.
Dude, I disconnected it and reconnected it to a different port. What the fuck is happening? Excuse me. Whoever you are.
Can you stop?
No disrespect.
Please.
Stop messing.
Please stop messing with the camera.
Very much appreciate it.
Yeah, because, okay, lately, my roommate that I've had for like 3 years moved out into her own place, which I miss her and I'm sad. But also I'm excited for her because she got her own little cute place. And yeah. But now I'm like remodeling, or not even remodeling, like redoing, cleaning out shit, moving shit around. But it's been super fucking quiet here. And so I've been hearing a lot of extra shit lately. And yeah, I was downstairs today and I was like heard like this, it almost sounded like stomping around or running around or something, like upstairs. So I was just like, what's going on here? But then when I'm in my room, sometimes I'll hear it. So it's like, it seems to move around.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but maybe it's what's fucking with the camera.
I think it's mad because it heard you and I talking about saging. That's just the imprint that I'm getting.
Okay.
It doesn't want that, but maybe I should come by next week instead of 2 weeks from now. Because from the stories that get more, and I know that we were trying to keep this like light, but still, when you're dealing with spiritualism and the metaphysical, there's always risk involved in one way or another. And
because it's a lot of unknown. So you're kind of accepting a lot of unknown risk too.
Yep. And especially if you don't know how other people have protected themselves in the past too, like mantras that they say or practices that they do. Sorry.
What?
A friend of mine just hit me up, and I haven't heard from him in a long ass time. But brain fog. I do know that they are like they're always around. It's like a weird presence, in a sense.
Well, it's almost like you could look at it in a bunch of different ways. Like, it could be almost like the energy's trapped of someone. It could be a ghost. It also could be like how they say we're living all through like a bunch of different dimensions at the same time type of thing. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just like almost like our worlds like over collide for a little bit and then something happens or whatever. You know what I mean?
I do. It's so weird because all of them are very feasible with like the amount of research that I put into this. They don't contradict each other either.
Right.
Like they each feed into one another.
Right. Well, and same with like if you look at astrology, like some people are like, oh, like astrology is not whatever. And it's like, no, like people study astrology. It's real. It's just whether you want to like follow the map, quote unquote, or not. But it does give a lot of insight into things and information. And yeah.
I do know that I started a new book called The Miracle of Awareness and Attention. And it talks about your attention and how powerful it can be and how powerful a tool of it is and how much of it makes up your perception. It's a really, really good book, but I'm only on the second chapter, so more on that later anyway. It talked about how alternative sciences, pseudosciences, are literally being suppressed by lobbyists.
Yeah.
Because they don't want this information getting out to the public.
Yeah.
They have taken videos of people giving TED Talks off of YouTube, even though TED is supposed to be like the #1 spot for
like new and innovation.
New and innovative ways of thinking. Yeah. And it's like there's some really weird things that are on there that shouldn't be on there.
Like, look at the government and how much they did behind what we already talked about. You know what I mean? Like, we know this shit's real. Like, we know there's some basis of fact in it because the U.S. government is going to spend all this money and do all this research if there's no backed info behind it or no knowledge of it.
It's happening with Iran. Iran is making a bunch of AI videos of like Legos representing what's happening.
Yes.
You know about this? And they're getting suppressed by YouTube. However, because they're apparently propaganda. But Israel can do that because they paid $45 million to YouTube in order to have their propaganda. So it's whoever pays
to have their own propaganda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Then that's probably where they're fucking with our shit right now. No, you bastards. But it's just insane because a lot of that stuff is dismissed and like a lot of people so easily just like throw it to the wayside and tune out whenever you start talking about that because they've been conditioned so much to where like their ears literally just shut off as soon as you say a certain word.
Weird if you believe in that. And it's like, dude, that shit is real.
You're fucking weird. You're the brainwashed one. You're not questioning anything and you should be questioning everything.
Right.
So, if you don't have anything to add, I'd like to talk about this little story.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. So this is a podcast that I listened to from Otherworld. I believe it's like episode 69.
Okay.
And it was called The Valley.
Okay.
And it talks about this guy and his near-death experience. He had an esophageal problem. And I guess it was becoming harder and harder for him to swallow. So he was getting thinner and thinner and having a lot of health problems to the point where he needed to undergo surgery. And he did, but there was a human error involved where like an artery got cut. And because he was in such bad shape physically, his heart stopped for like a minute. And the doctors sutured him up, got his vitals back, and then they still needed to do the surgery, so they induced him into a coma for 3 days.
Okay.
And during those 3 days, he described, it's so weird. He described being in a completely different space for what felt like a very, very long time, around like a month to 2 months long, which is insane to think about. He said that
because if other people that are in comas feel that way, and then they probably feel like they're stuck somewhere for years and years, and it's been like 2 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this story overlaps with a bunch of other stories that I've listened to, especially on psychedelics, like DMT. People describe something similar.
I've heard that where they'll have like a whole fucking family and shit, and then they come back from the trip and they like mourn it forever.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to do shit like that, because I don't think I can handle. No,
I don't blame you. It's a lot to handle and process. Like, we're maybe not supposed to dive into that sort of thing. Like the thing that's a theme throughout a lot of these, and that's getting more into my orbit, has been the idea of, before we are here in this realm, we were in another, and we get to choose how we live our lives in this realm, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that is backed up by this story.
Okay.
So with that in mind, what happens to this guy is he is essentially in this valley. There are mountains on either side of him. He's in this very lush green space where there's like yellow flowers. It's like a campsite. There's like a fire pit.
So it wasn't like scary.
No, he felt very, very at ease, very peaceful. Like this was intentionally there for a reason.
Okay.
And then he was there with 3 other people. One of them was this woman that he's never seen before, but got the sense that she was incredibly familiar and got treated like he was, like this was a wife.
Okay.
He also had 2 children there.
Okay.
One of them, which was a boy, who was a little bit older, and the other one was a girl who looked kind of like the mom with darker hair. And the boy had a haircut that was very similar to the person telling the story when he was younger, and what kind of hair that he would have.
Okay.
He very much had like the experience of like, I don't know these people, but they treat me like family. And what happened was he basically told them his entire life, everything that he had experienced up until this point, like everything, like a month to 2 months worth of talking.
Okay.
Like everything. He talked about one specific memory that he had, which was called like the rickety bridge. You know, those playgrounds where they have like that bridge that's kind of weird and wobbly. Like he described playing on that to these people, these kids and this woman. And he kept asking them, as if they're supposed to know, like, when do you think that we'll find out? I should back up a little bit. He got the sense that like he was retiring. Like he was able to spend time with these people. Like now he has all this free time, and that's what him and this woman talked about. Like, how are we going to spend our time? And the kids would like run around and play, but he would keep asking them or her, when do you think we'll find out? Like he was anticipating news that hadn't arrived yet. And he kept asking like, so when do you think we'll find out? And then the answer was always like, soon. Well, we'll find out soon. He got the feeling that like they went to a new place and they were exploring the new place, but everybody went their own separate ways. And then came back and regrouped and told their stories about what they had experienced. That's the vibe that he also got. I'm trying to think about what else. He did say that he saw other campers around. He saw other people, but they never interacted with him, and he never interacted with them. just very interesting. So I'm curious about what's going through your mind when you're hearing this.
It's just interesting because I wonder how many people this has happened to, where it's like, because your mind has to go somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, that's just so interesting. Like, I'm just like, wow. So, okay, so then what was like the finish of that? Was he just woke up out of a coma and then he was like, oh, my life?
I think the last thing that he was telling them was about the rickety bridge. And then he was like pulled back into darkness and then woke up and then knew something was wrong because there was a lot more people in the room and a lot more tubes. And he is like trying to figure out what's going on because he's lived in this place for like so long. To him, it felt like that. He couldn't really remember who he was. He couldn't remember who these people were. And they were like his girlfriend, his mom, dad, like relatives coming in. And yeah, it was like, it fucked with him for a little bit because he was like, I just spent all this time with like this person, like felt like incredibly familiar, but like, who are you?
Right.
And they had to keep telling him like, it's not Thursday anymore. It's like Saturday or Sunday. Like time has passed. Like something didn't go right. I think he had to be like sedated at one point too, because he was like pulling out IVs and shit. But eventually he worked it out. And then he attributed it to because they told him that they had to like sedate him into a coma. And he was just like, those were some really good drugs. But years later, I gotta take this off. Here on my echo. Years later, he heard an episode that was on Otherworld.
Okay.
And that's what sent me down this like 3-episode little binge. The one that he was referencing was this, I think it was called The Birthing Tents. Okay. This one's a fucking weird one too.
Okay.
The Birthing Tents describes a similar scene. It was very short, not as detailed as that one that I just described to you, but basically it deals with astral projection instead of this near-death experience. And like I already said, like astral projection is where you leave your body. The backstory of this is a woman. I think her name was Gwen or something with a G.
Okay.
She had a father that was very, very, very spiritual.
Okay.
He would do these like certain practices in order to have things happen in the physical world. He was very open with her about this. He told her like at a very young age how to like protect herself. She was very much like into it. And most of the episode actually talks about her backstory instead of this one instance.
Okay.
Because that was it's just very interesting, like some of the things that she's experienced and like her takes on this spiritualistic stuff. And she's like our age, if not even like a little bit younger.
Okay.
Yeah. Very, very fucking interesting. Like you should listen to it because like she describes being in like high school, I think high school or college, where like her teacher had apparently developed the ability to speak with like the spirits of dead pets or something like that. The main narrator is talking about how she got the feeling that this woman was like just a little kooky, but still really has some cool things because she started like an after school program, an elective for energy and like energy study. And I think that you and I should actually try some of these experiments.
Yeah.
One of them was holding cotton balls and then just imagining a certain scene or a memory so vividly and then giving them to your partner and then having them hold the cotton balls and then seeing if you can tell what they were thinking of.
Wow.
Like there was some really cool, like high schoolers, like having success stories with this stuff, dude. Or she also describes another one where two people are like sitting cross-legged, holding hands, and then looking into each other's eyes for the purpose of trying to figure out who they were in a past life.
Ooh, okay.
I want to tell this story because it's kind of funny. She had this kid in her class that was flaming gay and also like wore a suit.
Okay.
We didn't experience that because very stylish. But she saw him as an army soldier. Yeah. And when she told him that, he was like, one really cool thing is that when I was younger, my dad and I would go like hunting for army relics, and like we would use and like find them, and I was like, what the fuck? That's insane.
Well, because I found this person on TikTok, and she's like spiritual and stuff, and she had this own like kind of algorithm theory of like figuring out if you have like soul family and like do you have past lives and all this shit.
Interesting, yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna like see if she reads my stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I had done it of me, my ex, and my sister. And I've been here the longest. Then it was my ex, and then it was my sister.
Okay.
Which when you look up their life path numbers, it makes sense. Like I've been here the longest, then him, then her.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, though, it's just interesting. I've always wanted to get like my past life read, because it's like there's certain things that like I'm very scared of in this life that like it doesn't necessarily make sense. And so I'm always wondering, I'm like, is this from another energy that was stuck from before?
Yeah.
Because even like when you hear kids talk about, like, I've seen videos of kids say like, oh, I just want to go home. And like they're talking about somewhere that's like, they're like 4 and they've never been there. Or they're like, oh yeah, I was a firefighter. Or there was this one video of this little boy singing this song that he's never heard before, and it's like this super fucking old song.
Wow.
But yeah, there's so many instances where it's almost like kids kind of, they haven't forgot their old lives before they enter their new lives almost. And I think people discredit it a little bit, but
I do too.
There's too many instances where it's like, no.
Here's one that's really hard to like disprove is this kid was apparently a fighter pilot.
Okay.
Like a pilot of some kind. And he was able to go through and like talk about this airplane and talk about how it was made and like the different parts about it and shit, like very detailed. Like they had,
and he was like, what? Like,
like maybe 12, 13-ish. Wow. He was a young kid. I was like, oh, is that your plane? Like, what? That's crazy. So here's the other part. So that woman, where did I leave off at? So she had a lot of experience, and she was also well versed in astral projection. Like she knows about lucid dreaming. She's the one that made the distinction for me between lucid dreaming and astral projection that I'm referencing. But she said something interesting that connected to me as like a creative and a musician is this term of like the pocket. The pocket is like that sweet spot.
Okay.
In anything, there's like that sweet spot. In music production, there's that sweet spot. We call it flow state too. But she referred to it as the pocket. And it's something that like professional athletes, as well as this other mentor that I had, referred to it as. And what she was referencing it into is like when you're astral projecting, you can't think about it in like terms of real life and like our life on this plane.
Okay.
Like if you start thinking about it too much, then you kick yourself out of the astral projection. Basically, like if you want to leave, she talked about like wanting like leaving this house that she's been in for like a long portion of her life, as well as like maybe another house that she was in later on.
Okay.
And like I said, the difference is that you're actually able to perceive like the room around you as it is in our physical plane. But if you start thinking about like, okay, so in order to get from here to there, like I have to act like a human, different rules.
Right.
You can like literally go through walls, or like if you think about going to a place and you go there. So she went somewhere else for the first time and like had a successful, God damn it.
Sam's over. Oh no.
Damn it. Why? I was in the middle of the story. Very, very
nice. Guys, we've never had this many little interruptions. We're sorry. I don't know. We don't know what's going on.
I apologize. I blame the spirits. So she goes somewhere else. She goes to a place that feels very similar to how I described the valley.
Okay.
There's a gathering of some kind, a bunch of people she saw coming through the space, and it kind of looked like a carnival of some kind.
Okay.
Like there were tents, and though this might be light, this is also kind of graphic, and they called it the birthing tents for a reason, because on these high HD screens, like more HD, the way she described it, and this comes out back later, is more HD than like real life.
Okay.
Screens where it's just like depicting births happening, like of different species, like chicken, cow, horse, pig, human, just like of all, and people were like celebrating and like clapping.
Okay.
And then I think she got out of it at some point. Like she didn't describe it too in depth, but she did say that it was a bunch of tents. There were different tents for different reasons. There were a bunch of people, or what looked like people. And when she started asking like where she was getting weird looks. Like she's not supposed to ask about that. And she talks with her dad about this stuff too. And he says that he goes into the astral realm to help lost souls move on. Like that's and he has had a buddy say, like, I saw you while I was astral projecting, helping this lost soul like cross over. I was like, what the fuck?
Wow, chills.
Yeah, dude.
No, because I've heard stories where people will astral project into like government buildings, and then they'll be met with another astral projector that works for the fucking government.
We talked about this in Project Stargate.
And then you're kicked out.
Yeah, it's so fucking crazy. Yeah. I think the craziest thing was like she talked and communicated with one of these people later on after the stream.
Okay.
She was at like a pool party of some kind, or like a party in a place, and she was like, I can't get out of here. Like I feel like I've been here for so long. And then she ends up asking like the bartender, and he says this: astral projection, different dimensions are like swimming pools. You have some shallow ones and some deeper ones. Right now you're in a deeper one, but if you go that way, you'll eventually get to like a shallow one and then be able to find your way out. And that's how she got out.
Okay,
fucking
so
crazy.
Weird that you bring that up now, because so this was probably not even a month ago.
Okay.
So me and Steph are sleeping, and I kind of had like woken up out of my sleep, and I realized she was like breathing really heavy, and I was like, okay, I think she's like having a nightmare. So I kept trying to wake her up out of the nightmare, and she was like not waking up.
Okay.
And then at one point, it looked like she was awake and I was talking to her, but she still didn't really wake up. And then she just kind of went back to sleep, didn't seem to be in distress or whatever. I was like, okay.
Okay.
So the morning, she tells me what the dream was. Crazy as fuck. So, and this dream is like to the T, what the fuck would happen if this dream was real, right? Okay. So in this dream, she's on her way home from work and she gets here. All the doors are open and I'm nowhere to be found. And as she's driving home, there's like all these military tanks and all this shit outside. And she's like freaking out, trying to find me, whatever. So she runs around, she finds Ellie. And then she comes out and then she sees me at the mailbox, which you can literally see the mailbox right there from this window that we're in. And she's like, oh my God, like, we gotta go. We gotta find her family. Like, all this shit's going on. And then apparently I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Now I see it. So we come back to my house and I was like, well, I have to pack all my stuff, which is, if you know me, I'm very particular about my fucking clothes and what I wear and whatever. You'll see me in the same shit over and over again because I have my safe clothes. So if this were real, yeah, best believe I'd be taking the shit and I would not be leaving without my safe clothes.
She knows you so well.
No, literally.
She knows you so well.
She does. So in the dream, she's like, well, do you have your meds and all that? And I'm like, no. Shit. And she's like, well, get that first. I'll pack your bag. I know what you wear. So she's literally in the dream grabbing what I would actually fucking bring. And we're freaking out. And then we're fighting. We're like, because her family in the dream was going to go to Mexico, which is realistic. And then in my dream, my family would go to the fucking Ozarks, which again, also fucking realistic because they have a place there. And so we were fighting about like, well, should we go there? Should we go with them? Should we go with your family, my family? So we're like freaking out, fighting. Yeah. So we get in the car and we start driving. And literally, see this open field out here? Yeah. That's where all the army people were and all the like tanks and shit in the dream. And there was like a little opening. So we start driving. She's like, well, we don't know we just have to get the fuck out of here. We don't know where we're going, where we can get to, but let's just get out of this situation. So we start driving over there and there's only like one opening. So we start going over there and these like military people are basically like, okay, here's some guns and stuff, but if you go that way, like, we can't protect you.
They gave you guns?
In the dream, apparently, they gave us guns. Yes. So we start driving. Then all of a sudden, she said, like, our car got bombed or something in the dream. And it, like, flipped. And then we were stuck in the car. And I had, I guess, like a cut on my head or something, and she didn't want to tell me, so I didn't freak out, which again would happen in real life. And in the dream, she was stuck in the car because it was like on the side or something, and it was stuck in the car, and she couldn't get her legs out, and she's like, I'm stuck, which throwback to when I'm trying to wake her up. That's the reason I try to start waking her up, because I heard her sleep talk saying I'm stuck.
Oh my God.
So then in the dream, she said that I was running around looking for Ellie, because then Ellie had gotten out of the car, which again, Ellie would, you know, she'd be running around and it's a fucking stressful situation and she's doing like catch away.
Right. Yeah.
And so I find her, then the army people or military people come back, get her out of the car.
Okay.
And it's like on a gurney and we're like running towards safety, but I'm right next to her. And again, this is where the whatever, she's like, yeah, you were right over me and you were talking to me, but I couldn't understand what you were saying in the dream. But that's when I was trying to fucking wake her up. And I was like, hey, because I was literally like, it got to the point where at first I was like, hey, like, wake up.
Yeah.
And then I was like, she's like freaking out in her dream. And then I like kind of got up and I was like, hey, like, you're in a dream, wake up. And I'm like, hey, because she was like kind of hyperventilating in her dream almost.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
that's stressful
okay,
as fuck.
wake up. Yeah. And she was, even then, she did not wake up. So
oh my God.
It was clearly like when I was talking to her, that was like in the dream. But just the fact that it was like exactly how it happened,
Holy
if that
fuck.
happened, exactly where my house is, exactly what it looked like.
That's
like it's just
crazy.
creepy.
Yeah, that is very creepy.
Okay. And then her screen shuts the fuck off.
On cue.
No, you guys, this is like the 10th time. And this is a new camera and new computer.
What is happening? On cue.
No, literally, actually. So, yeah, it's just weird how dreams can be so real.
We don't know shit about them. Like, honestly, we try. We have dream interpreters, but we really don't know. We've at most just grazed the surface of them, because people have prophetic dreams. People have dreams that are symbolism. Like my dreams, whenever I'm stressed, I lose teeth.
Oh, I hate those dreams.
You have them too. Oh my God. Yeah, so they're common. Scary. Those are common. Like, I know I grind in my sleep too, but like I've literally woken up and I'm like, oh, thank God that was just a dream.
No,
I lost my
like,
front teeth. Yes. I've lost my molar. It's like, holy shit. Like it's stressful. Like, oh my God, what the fuck? They're crazy. I had a dream one time where my most vulnerable spot was attacked. Like, I think I've told you a few times, but I have a thing with my arm, the joint in my arm. It was a spider. Like one of those yellow wave spiders that bit me there. And I woke up and the pain was so real, dude.
No, I've had that before. Like in my dream, I was laying on the ground, someone took my foot and fucking shot my foot. And I woke up and it's like I still felt weird for a couple minutes after.
Yeah, oh my God. It's so fucking crazy. Which leads me into this next one. So this last story, this is the third one, called The Fog.
Okay.
Another Otherworld podcast. I think this was like episode 36 or something like that.
Okay.
And it was, again, with this girl that had a near-death experience. She had a heart condition and she was getting like pacemakers. And one time something went wrong. And she describes it as like when they're operating on your heart, they don't put you under anesthesia because anesthesia messes with your heart's rhythm. So they usually drug you up with like laughing gas or something like that in order for you to be conscious so that they're still like operating on you, kind of. And she's had this done before. And what happens is I think she like teleports to also be in the hospital, but like talking to a nurse. Um, and like talking with the nurse and then switching back to being on the operating table. And then switching back to being with the nurse and like describing to her what's going on and then going back into the operating table, but being able to like feel what's happening. This
scary.
is scary. This is absolutely terrifying because
scary.
It would switch back and forth and it would get like faster and faster and faster to the point where it would switch so quick that it was just a white blinding light. Fucking terrifying, dude.
Okay, well, and then I think because it's one of those things too where, and that's why I'm always honest with my doctors about smoking weed because I'm like, drug me up correctly, please. Because shit like that, like if she saw the blinding light, like when she was like almost half awake, half conscious, half not, and then she's seeing the light, she's probably waking up during surgery.
Yes,
then, like that shit's so fucking scary. Fuck no.
Yeah, she was like screaming, like I can feel you operating, and then going and switching back and like screaming at the nurse, and the nurse being like, "You're fine, you calm down," and then it was just insane.
Wow.
So, like totally gave me goosebumps the first time I heard it. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But then that blinding white light like covers her entire vision. And then she's in this place, this very foggy place where she could like move or had the sensation of having arms but couldn't see them. And all she had was like her inner voice. Like her mouth wasn't there, but whenever she would think a thought, she would be able to audibly hear it in this place. She brought up like looking back on hindsight, she never tried to go up or down. She tried to approach this as like a 2-dimensional plane or 3-dimensional plane going just like how you and I would go forward, backward, left and right. And it was very scary for her because she felt like she was also here for like a few weeks just with nothing but like her body and her like not even her body, like nobody. And being in just empty, alone, like absolutely fucking terrifying. And then she would like
scary.
beg and plead. Like she literally convinced herself that she was in hell too. Like I died and I've gone to hell and this is hell. Like why? Like why did this happen? She would even like hallucinate that she would go back to living and like would live out her life with like her family. And then herself would like, she would see herself on like a dream and then herself would tell her like, you're not supposed to be here. Like you need to go back and then be sent back to that like foggy place.
Ew.
Fucking scary. And if you want to get a better idea of what this looks like and what this feels like, go look up the Adventure Time episode, The Hall of Egress, or watch like an explanation on YouTube, or better yet, just listening to the Other World podcast. I'm pretty sure it was like 36 or 35 or something around there. The fog. And listen to it for yourself because it's absolutely like mind-bending. The Hall of Egress is the main character, Finn the human, is in this like dungeon basically. And then he does something inside of there or gets trapped inside of there and keeps having the reoccurring feeling of escaping, but he has to keep his eyes closed. Like he can feel the floor, he can feel the wall, he can feel like the door opening up and like going outside, and he can hear his friends, and like we'll go a long ass time before opening up his eyes and like getting rid of the blindfold and opening up his eyes, and then he's back in the Hall of Egress. Like, oh, and the worst part is that this had real world complications for this poor girl. She had the feeling in like side of her gut, like a tug, and that's how she got sucked back into the real world.
Oh.
And like she felt pain on her hand. She was like, "Thank God I can feel pain. This feels amazing."
Oh.
And then the pain was like an IV in her hand. Yeah. And then she was back. I don't know how much time had passed. I don't remember that detail.
Oh my God.
But she was convinced that after she had woken up, this was another hallucination. And it messed with her because she was afraid that it messed with her mood, her outlook,
Yeah.
how she behaved around people. Like they weren't
Yeah.
really real. Like she was convinced that she was like still dead, and took a lot of therapy and
Wow.
reaching out to other people in order to like get over this.
Yeah.
And like going through like guided grounding meditations and learning all that. It was whole.
See, that's where, and again, like in situations like that, it's such the unknown, and like it's like who know why like it gets like that. Oh, are we having more issues?
Yeah.
It's like what's
It's like
going on?
audio issues now.
Our audio's not working. Oh.
All right, Wildflower, let me know if that continues. So sorry, guys. It's the spirit, I tell you.
No, literally, like whatever we're talking about is
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's just because again, all these like the connection of everything we talked about is so unknown. Like we'll never get an actual answer. We'll never get an actual explanation. And it's like in part, I like that.
Yeah.
But then also it's like this nagging feeling of like, I wish I knew. Like I really wish I knew.
We all do at some point. Like that's the age-old question of like what does happen? Should we be scared of it? Like should we because it influences how we act. I'm sure that if the definitive proof was like nothing happens after death, that we just nothing happens, like it's just emptiness, then we would treat life differently.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right? But like it's kind of freeing in that you don't know and you can have whatever interpretation you want.
Yeah. And that's why I really do like I go back to spirituality is such a personal thing, and that's why like I'm not a big fan of like these big churches and these big whatever, because I truly feel like if you look inside of yourself and like really see how like you see the world, it's like you're almost opening a whole nother way of thinking.
It's true.
As opposed to like following something where someone's telling you over and over, this is what you have to believe, this is what you have to do, these are the rules, these are the whatever.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't operate like that.
I don't either. I appreciate being in the spiritualist scene. Not really a scene, but like I enjoy having conversations where it's more entertained, where I get feedback of like what other people believe or think, or it's very, very interesting, especially because when discussing it, there are so many parallels to other stories.
Right. Like they all connect.
They all connect in some weird, wild way. I know that if we had Maddie on, oh my God.
I know we have to get Maddie back.
We have to get Maddie back and talk about this stuff because I'm convinced that she's at least astral projected once.
Oh yeah.
Like successfully and had that like
yeah.
I have not yet. I don't think I've actually like astral projected, but I have had like a sleep paralysis one time.
Oh, those are scary.
I hated that.
See, I can't sleep on my back because they always fucking get those. So,
Yeah, I'm a stomach and a side sleeper.
Yeah.
My posture hates me, but I don't care.
Yeah, it's way more comfortable.
It's way more comfortable. But yeah, I love talking about this stuff. I'm sure that we'll talk about it again in the future.
Oh yeah, because my friend Izzy was like, oh my God, I have so many stories. So next season, we're going to start having like guests on and stuff. We'll probably be again revisiting some of these topics with some new stories and stuff.
I love it. I love it. I want to hear different stories of like what different people think and like what they've experienced, because it's like I think I said before on Fires of Change that my only real like closest encounter with spirits in the spirit world was when I was at the Stanley Hotel and I felt something grab the back of my leg when I was up against a wall. Told you that before. Super creepy. But that's the extent of it. And I experience spiritualism more in my day-to-day life with like synchronicities or with energies. Trying to think, like I I've had a few times where just listening to it and connecting those dots has like put me at ease.
Right.
And I think there's also something that too, something also to do with like energy.
Yeah.
And very, very tightly with energy. Like
Yeah.
those two are in sync with one another.
Oh my
like,
God, absolutely.
Like being able to pick up on vibes of people, like that weirdo in New York, being able to tell like in a room, like when somebody has just had a fight, like the tension between them is palpable. Being able to tell when somebody's like being genuine with you too. Like I feel like it's when it comes to that, like some people are fake about it. Some people are really, really, really good at hiding it.
I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like I'm a person that I can always like play into that and see where it's like, okay, yeah, this is genuine, or there's something behind this that seems like, weird, I don't know, the vibe's off.
Something's weird.
And growing up, it's like I would never give myself credit. And now as an adult, I'm like, no, honestly, I'm always right. I'm usually just early. Yeah.
It's so cool. I love it. And I'm just looking forward to talking about it again soon.
No, literally.
But dude, we've hit an hour and a half almost.
Wow. See, this was a good episode. We can ramble on. Oh, and our screen went off.
Thank you for that last one. Thank you so much. Why not? It's like happening.
No, literally. I'm like, okay, well, on that note, it's I think it's trying to tell us something.
You guys are exhausting your dialogue. Wrap it up.
No, literally.
God damn. All right. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me about this, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I'm curious, really quick. I'm curious about what you thought about those different stories I just told. Like, if you see any correlations with them or anything like that, or like if any of them hit home for you.
Yeah, it's just super interesting at how many people go to like the other place, and even just like how it's like in my dream, it's like I almost get them because it's like in my dreams I have very similar experiences of where it's like it makes sense but it doesn't. You could feel stuff but you can't.
Right.
But yeah, now I'm just curious of like I just kind of want to hear other people's stories that have been in comas if they've had, you know, the same experience, because that's very interesting.
Yeah, near-death experiences, NDEs are really interesting, especially if you start diving deep into them. Maybe we'll talk about that one of these days too.
Honestly, that would be a fun episode if we had someone on here that, you know, had that.
Yeah, one of these days.
No, literally.
Well,
thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Sam.
I'm Peyton.
And this has been Uncontrolled Population. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will talk to you in a couple of weeks. Bye.